This Hangout on air is live. Woohoo!
We made it. HOA gremlins, baby.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, so I guess I just have to wait and see if anybody shows up.
No,
Yeah.
we'll get it. We'll make it work. For those of you who are curious about what just happened. So Denise and I, in Denise's total adventures in visibility fashion, we had an adventure in starting today's HOA,
We
and
did.
we ended up basically just having to redo it because that's what you got to do. Think on your feet. And if you are watching live right now, somehow or another, there's on the old event page. There's a link to this event page event where you can watch live and start asking questions.
Okay.
So I guess that's what we're gonna do.
Yep, that's what we're going to do. So hopefully somebody out there is watching, and if not, if you're watching the replay, welcome. I'm Denise Wakeman, your host and guide on Adventures in Visibility. And yes, this has been an adventure this morning because despite our best efforts, the original Hangout on Air wouldn't go live. So we had to do something else. So now we're starting, and I want to welcome you. Today we have an adventure in visibility on Google+, which we've had a hard time doing originally. So today my guest is Stephan Hovnanian. He is a friend and colleague who I've known for a little over a year now, and he is a brilliant guy when it comes to creating visibility on Google+ and around the web. I want to give you a little bit of his background so we can get that on video. We can get it recorded. So I'm going to be reading it so I don't mess anything up. Again, my guest is Stephan Hovnanian, who among other things is an author of 4 ebooks as of today and the host of Google+ Business Spotlight, an extremely popular Hangout show on Wednesdays at 12:30 Eastern Time. On today's show, we're talking about creating a visible presence on Google+, and Stephan is brilliant. He is the owner of Shovi Websites, a web design and marketing firm located outside Boston, Massachusetts. Stephan has always stressed the importance of strategy and intent when building and managing web presences of his clients, and Google+ is no different. Stephan is a real-life example of a personal brand that uses Google+ for networking and marketing. His strategies have increased his web traffic and search ranking, opened up opportunities for speaking engagements and webinars, and brought in contributions to high-profile blogs such as Marketing Profs and 12 Most. So welcome, Stephan. Thank you for your help and good humor around our crazy start this morning.
Oh, please, come on. This is fun. You got to be able to think on your feet, and we did it. And congratulations for keeping your cool on this one, Denise. You're awesome, especially where it's 90 degrees over where you are, right? So
yes, it's very hot right now. I'm sweating.
rocking
Good
it.
thing you can't see that.
Yeah. And I see that we have a bunch of people that caught the comment and were able to switch over. So that
Excellent.
rocks.
Excellent, excellent. So, okay, so my first question, because I have a lot of people who are watching and who follow me and who I work with who are introverts. So I would like to know from you, introvert or extrovert?
Good question. I think I am more of an extrovert. Um, you can drop me in a room and I'll be okay, really, with anybody. I have no problem being on camera, no problem being in front of people. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to warm up, though.
Okay.
And if people come on to me too strong, I tend to retreat from that.
Okay,
So I don't know what that makes me, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, well, maybe you're in the ambivert crowd with Mia Voss and Martin Shervington.
Sounds good. I'll take it.
Okay. So we want to talk today about creating visibility on Google+, and just let everybody know that you just published this new ebook today, or it just got live today or yesterday, How to Get More Visibility on Google+. So, and we'll be giving away a few copies of that also during the Hangout today. But first of all, I'd like to know from you, you talk about that now your how did you put it? You are now a television channel. What do you mean by that?
Right. So I don't know, it just came to me, and I kind of played out the scenario in my head. I'm like, yeah, this works. So here's what I mean by being a television channel. At least, all right, and I want to preface everything that I talk about here with in the context of you're here on Google Plus because of the marketing element of it, right? The social networking, the collaboration. You're not just using it to have fun with your friends or share YouTube videos or whatever. So with that in mind, here's what I mean by that, right? You have full control over how you present yourself, just like a television station. I mean, you control your own programming. You have the ability to engage whoever you want, and bring, your job is to bring people as a station to get more, to your profile, to your posts, and start interacting with your posts and start interacting with you and really wanting to tune into you. This is kind of what sparked it for me. I realize that there's a certain number of people I've realized have me in circles that notify them of when I post. And I know this because they've either told me or they're very, very consistent about engaging on my posts. And it's usually soon after I, share it. So and I have a little over 20 people in the same boat. So, and I do the same thing. So I've realized, I'm like, well, I almost have a responsibility to them. I mean, in a way, they chose to do this, but I still feel like I have a responsibility to be worth tuning into. Mm-hmm. And if I'm worth it, then more people will want to tune into my posts. They'll want to talk about my posts to other people. And little by little, my influence grows, my authority grows. And then when it comes time to market something like a book, then, that part of it kind of takes care of itself. But in the meantime, I've done what I can to just be a great channel to tune into and have a good time on my posts. That's kind of what I meant by that.
Okay, so you're the Stephan Hovnanian channel, and I've got you on my dial too. So I pay attention to what you're doing all the time. So in terms of, you talked about posts, people paying attention to your posts and commenting right away. What kind of posting strategies do you recommend generally to maintain that visibility and keep people coming back?
Well, it depends on what you want out of each post. Because remember, let me preface it by saying this. Google Plus gives us a pretty big feature set, more so than a lot of the other social networks, right? We have different ways to post. We have different, photos and events and videos, and there's just a lot of content marketing tools, if you will, that come with our Google Plus sharing, posting suite, or whatever you want to call it. So you can use that to your advantage, right? You could say, okay, think about like when we used to use LinkedIn and we use Quora, and you post a question, right, to get comments so that you can maybe get some ideas and crowdsource for a blog post. So to me, that has a different type of strategy than I would if I'm trying to do something that might be a little more promotional, or mm-hmm. if I want to get the attention of certain people on Google Plus and possibly, or at least hopefully, have them share my post. So a lot of it just comes down to what you're looking for at the end of the day. And quite honestly, if your goal is to have your post shared by other people, why? Ask that question to yourself. Like, what do I get out of this? Am I going for click-throughs? Because if I'm going for click-throughs, well then that's at least I'm going to check. Like, let me measure that, right? Mm-hmm. So I know I'm bringing a bunch of different things kind of all together at the same time, so forgive me, it's a little confusing, but I guess my whole point is to have a strategy and understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then also what that does for you, other than just boost your ego by giving you a bunch of social signals. That's always fun, but it's not a long-term sustainable thing. And I will say this, people respond to that. So that they'll see through the people who are just trying to get the signals and who are just trying to be part of a viral movement or go viral themselves or whatever, especially here on G+, because not that we're highbrow or anything, but we value the fact that we can have these deep conversations with formatting and a whole bunch of other great tools, and so we value that. And as a result, you kind of have to come here with your Sunday best on and be prepared to just I mean, you can still have fun. I don't want anybody to not think that. But you can still leave like LOL comments. But if you want to be taken seriously, if you want people to tune into that channel, you got to take yourself kind of seriously and come off at least polished and professional, and that'll and insightful, like what you're talking about, and that's the kind of stuff that will ultimately get you noticed. At least on your post, and even when you're commenting on other people's posts. Does that answer the question?
Yes, you answered the question. So when you're thinking about that strategy, do you have a different strategy for, say, click-throughs that you mentioned, or for brand awareness, which is a little bit different and could be considered really a important visibility play also? Like, how do you distinguish that in your posts?
Well, so like the big mantra right now for everybody: share big images, right? Share images, share images. And quite honestly, my channel doesn't share a lot of images. I don't really, I don't know, they take up a lot of space to me. And to me, I feel, and I haven't proven this one way or another, but I personally feel like there's an inherent call to action when I share a link that I want you to click on it. And there's an inherent call to action to look at my picture when I share a picture. That's my personal opinion. There are plenty of people that say share photos so that they get noticed and put the link inside the photo so people will go and click on it, because they won't click unless they notice it in the first place. But here's the thing: if you have your website set up the right way where you can get those big images now, you have a better chance of being seen in the in the home streams of people as they're on Google+. So now I think that kind of equilibrates, just kind of leveled the playing field a little. Just a little. There's still, I know the thing I posted today where I announced my book, I know it's had way more shares than most of my blog posts, and it's gotten a bunch of views, and that's wonderful. I'm also looking at the Amazon report, and it's not the same as, if I had potentially, well, I haven't tested it, but if I shared the link to the book, who knows if it would have been different. So that's, again, my opinion, but the only way to tell is to test it.
Exactly. And that is an interesting case study that you just mentioned there with your book, because there's actually two things that need to happen. Is that one is awareness that you have the book, right? So, right. And that image really does that for you. I mean, it stands out, it's bold, it's an announcement, which is what you have to do when you do have something that you're launching. You need to get people's attention. And then I imagine, knowing you and your processes a little bit, is that you're going to follow that up with a link post later.
Yeah. And
you're probably going to be looking at which one created the most conversions to buying the book. So this is a really good lesson for, I think, of the dual way of using posts on Google Plus and building awareness and visibility. Comment?
You're absolutely right. You are. You're absolutely right. The other thing too, yeah, and I would also add, I mean, when you're going to your website, it's a little easier. You can use link shorteners now to, at least for ourselves, like me linking to Amazon. Amazon's not giving me any landing page stats, so I could use a link shortener and then maybe check it out that way. But another thing, and if you're on your own website, you could also use campaign tracking, those UTM strings if you use Google Analytics. So, it starts to get a little more complex. It becomes a little less spur of the moment, which, sometimes kind of stinks. And maybe what you end up doing is saving that process for some of your best content, right? And maybe you use the other times that you're sharing things for, just, hey, I just want to see how things are going. I just want to see maybe how the signals are building, or if I'm getting comments at a certain time of day, or or whatever. Or again, just the idea of, will this kind of post work? Will asking a 2-line question actually work?
Right.
I mean, for me, again, it's all about having a strategy. But yes, I will later on today probably just share a nice little thank you to people with a link over to the to the page on Amazon, and we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, we're here talking. So
yeah.
Well, and I added comments, by the way. I added the comment tracker, by the way, while we were while
Oh,
you're doing that little preface. So if the next time you put me on the spot, you want to add that, go for it. Just want to
okay.
let you know.
Thank you. Thank you. It's kind of hard to do everything all at once, especially when you didn't have time to prep. I was
And
so,
look into the camera.
yeah, I was so prepped for this, and then it wouldn't go live. So anyway, thank you for that. Anyway, okay, one of the other things you talk about in your new ebook is about using comments to create a presence and more visibility on Google+. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how you do it, or how you've witnessed other people doing that and what it does for them?
Yeah, I mean, there's the comments are really like, so another analogy I use is get dressed and then go out. So um, you, by get dressed, I mean, have your profile look good. Okay, so you have everything on your, if somebody were to come click over to your profile, then they would see what you're all about. They'd maybe add you to their circles, or maybe just start engaging on a couple of your posts. So by, to get yourself dressed and be cognizant of what your profile looks like for somebody clicking over to you, and also what your the settings in your profile look like that pop up on your hover card, which I've started to become known for now. And by that, for those of you who are watching this and unfamiliar with Hovercard, it's when you hover over somebody's name, and this happens on Facebook and LinkedIn and maybe someday Twitter, who knows? But right now you have to click on it. But anyway, your name pops up along with your cover photo and a couple other fields within your bio, and then somebody could add you to the circles right from there. So now think about how powerful that is, right? Big personal branding opportunity to look at it like a business card and say, okay, if I'm going to leave a comment on one of Denise's posts, right, and I'm a total newbie to her audience, but I found her somehow, and I leave an insightful comment and spark up a great conversation with some of the people leaving comments on that post, they're going to be like, wow, who is this person, right? They hover over their name and they get a good sense of, there's some good imagery, there's maybe maybe even a call to action, but at the bare minimum, there's some things in that little hover card that tell me what you're all about. I'm like, oh, this person's interesting. So again, either I can make a decision right there and maybe add them to a certain type of circle that lets me check them out later, or I click right over to their profile, in which case hopefully there's good stuff there to look at. That goes back to my whole point about being a channel. But commenting is huge, because if you think about it, I mean, I've been on here long enough. You've been on here long enough. We're fortunate to have nice, healthy engagement on our posts where people show up all the time. But when you're a brand new anything, you need visibility, right? You need to get the word out that you exist. I mean, your website is an island was a term we used back in the 90s, until you started marketing it. And the same goes for anything else. So how do you do that on Google Plus? There's the only way to do it. There's two ways to do it. One's with hashtags, so people can find you by looking for the same hashtags. The other way is to go and say, hey, I'm over here, by commenting on somebody else's posts.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's like, it just makes a ton of sense. Like, just get out there and comment. And in that chapter, I talk about a bunch of different ways where you can find, good article or good post to comment on. But by and large, that's what you need to do, because otherwise nobody knows about you.
Exactly. I agree. And one of the things that I often say to my clients and to people, other people around, I've posted on my blog about 1 million times, is that if people can't find you, you don't exist. So you need on the web. If people can't find you on the web, you don't exist. And that's why creating a visible presence is so important. So this whole thing about commenting, that puts you in somebody's attention. Of course, you don't do it unless you have something valuable to add to the conversation. Let's be clear about that. But absolutely, it's one of those things that gets you started, and that's often what people ask. Well, how do I get started? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I was just at a conference last week for pet bloggers and people in the pet industry, and a lot of people were just like, I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm on there, but nobody comments, nobody does anything. It's like, well, you have, just like any other platform, you have to make the first move, really. That's what I think. So
It's 100% true.
I want to post a question here, make sure I've got it there, because this kind of takes that, question here to that level is that Tina Cook is asking, my clients often ask me, what's the benefit of being on Google+? Be interested to know what you'd say. The benefits are they are mainly speakers and service professionals. So how do you answer that, Stephan?
Yeah, great question. And I know we got a bunch of guys in the audience too who could also chime in. So feel free to do that in the comments. But let's see. What do you call it? So what is the benefit of being on Google+? I mean, as a marketer, let's see. Gosh, there's so many. You have
go for it.
Well, look at it this way, right? Kind of go back to what I said before. You have a content marketing tool set that that's unparalleled anywhere else. Okay. Not only that, the said content marketing tool set exists on a subdomain of Google. Google owns search and YouTube. Search is where people go to buy things. So if you want to be discovered, you have the ability to not only discover people socially and be discovered socially, but all of this content tells Google what you're all about. And then in the context of Google being able to recommend you to people who are searching for these things, even outside of Google+. So you can't get this anywhere else on any other social network. And I can say that for a fact. So just think about how powerful that is in the context of why I should be on Google+. I mean, your audience not being here is silly. It doesn't matter, It's you being able to tell a story, you being able to have a variety of content marketing tools. I mean, every post that we make on Google+ gets indexed in search. As long as they're public posts, they can be found on the internet. I have people that posted links to my articles, outranking my article on Google+. Right? I mean, in search rather. So like if you search like Google+ Hovercard, for example, you'll actually find a couple of posts that, one of them in particular is from a page, a business page, not even a person, that actually links to my post. So, but it's a Google+ post that outranks the article itself. Go figure. But that's the point. That's how powerful that is. And you have the ability to do that. Honestly, in an early adopter phase still, this is still very new. This is still, and you have a great opportunity to use all those tools to build up a bunch of authority and tell people what you're all about,
Okay, well,
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Tina, I hope that helped, and you can always grab the replay of this video later and share that with those people who asked, because that's a clear, succinct answer to why you should be on Google+, and usually pretty close to the answer that I give as well. Okay, Stephan, another question for you. In your book, you talk about influencer outreach as a visibility strategy. What is that?
Well, I was kind of going back to what I was saying before about having somebody with, an influential person in your niche share your content, or be able to build a relationship with those guys that, ultimately leads to them recommending you. Because go back to what I said before, right? If you have I'm trying to remember, was this the one where I talked about the popcorn, the movie blog? I think it was.
I think so.
All right, I'm going to use that example. So if back in the in the earlier days of search, it used to be I could game search to say I am a movie blogger, or I'm going to write an article about a movie and stuff it with keywords, and Google is going to think that I'm authoritative in the movie space. Well, we don't have that now, right? And we have people that have built up legitimate influence by doing things in real life that make them authoritative about movies. They appear on TV, they get written up by the media, we talk about them. Think about how so now it's harder for that person trying to game it to get ranked in search or to even get discovered. But now think about if I were to write an article about a movie and somebody like that picked it up and shared it. How much of a recommendation that is to my content, even though I'm not necessarily influential in this space, but how awesome that would be if, it could be a brand too, like if your favorite brand says, wow, this is worthy of us putting on our channel, right? Whether it's Twitter or Facebook or even just blogging about it, this is worthy of us talking about and recommending it. And we know what we're talking about in that space, and we've discovered this really cool piece of information we want to share with everyone. That's huge for you. And so to be able to get to that point, that's what I meant by influence. Being able to connect with influencers, right? So, to get to that point, you just kind of have to figure out. You just have to watch them, and you have to connect with them on a human level. Like that's, I think, the biggest thing is to be able to go and understand who these people are in real life, like what they're all about, what makes them tick. Not just like, hey guys, look at me, come share my stuff. Nobody really wants to do that because they get that all the time. If you can if you can genuinely say, all right, you taught me something, or I love your information because of the fact that it helps me be better, and I want to offer something back to you in some kind of, in some way to show that's genuine, then that's the type of thing that gets their attention. And another way to get their attention is to basically leave comments on their posts that are insightful and engage them in discussion to show that, yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. I'm not necessarily challenging you, but maybe I'm asking for clarification and and some of the other things that just help generally build relationships in real life. Because that's another thing I want to throw out here. This is very much a real life platform, and that's what Google wants it to be. So the more you can emulate the things you're supposed to do in real life when it comes to networking and communication and things like that, building relationships, the better off you're going to be here in the long run. Because again, that's what they want. Being able to have all those real life connections, and the way we interact with each other helps the spammers and the guys trying to game search engines. It helps it make that a lot harder for them. So that makes Google's search results, which is their primary business, way more trustworthy.
Yes. Well, and the other thing around that I would say is that, when you're engaging somebody who you consider, a rock star, celebrity, influencer on Google Plus or in your niche, is, be polite too, and you don't have to fawn all over them, but, just be real. I mean, nobody's better than anybody else, right? We're all equal here, and when you have just a real conversation, make a real comment, or, hey, I really like this about your book. I learned this about this or that or the other thing. I think that makes a huge difference. The access can be very different here on Google Plus than it is in other places.
Yeah, because it's open too. We don't have, so we have a new head of Google Plus, right, as of a few weeks ago. Second it happened, I went over to one of his posts because like everybody else did, all right, let's go hobnob with this fella. And all you see now is people, I don't want to say sucking up, but leaving comments and trying to get to know them, right? And we're all doing it. It's an important thing to do because, again, how cool would it be if the head of Google Plus shares your content? Like, that would be really awesome. But even beyond that, I can do that, right? How cool is it that you can go and make a comment on a Guy Kawasaki post? Whether he responds to you is a different story, or whether the head of Google or any of the other major brands or major personalities here will respond to you is a different story. But the fact is, you can do that. You can go leave a comment and actually build a relationship with somebody here without having to connect to them. No emails back and forth, none of that stuff. It's open, and so that's a huge opportunity for you to just go find other people that are interesting and that are talking about the types of things that you have an interest in and that you can lend to the conversation, and then and just start talking to them, because you already know you have something in common, right? Unless you're sucking up, that's a different story. But if you're interested in horses and you go do a search for horses on Google Plus and you just see a bunch of horse conversations, you can start talking to people, and these are people who are interested in what you have to say because they like horses too. So it's just a fantastic opportunity. Twitter's like that too, but we just have more characters here on Google Plus.
Okay, so before we get to the book giveaway, because we did promise to give away 4 copies of your brand new book, I want to ask one more question about your previous book. Book number 3 was on building visibility for Google Plus outside of Google Plus, so bringing people to your Google Plus activity. So what's your top tip for doing that, for bringing people outside to build your visibility inside? Does that make sense?
I would say my top tip is to tell people you're on Google Plus. Talk about it. Link to it. Actually, my top tip is to link to your Google Plus posts. That's probably what would down the road, that probably is the best thing to do for yourself. But tell people that you're on there, add the follow badges, try and linking back to your Google Plus post. It just casts a wider net of your Google Plus activity beyond just your website or just your email list or and obviously just Google Plus. But if you're dropping links basically to all of your posts wherever you can on Pinterest or even on Twitter or whatever, I mean, it's just a great opportunity to to get the word out. And then the nice thing is people come back to the page, right? They'll come back to the Google Plus page. They'll see a very nice looking article, or post or whatever you have, and they'll see your face. They'll see that they can add you to their circles if they're logged into Google Plus. And if they aren't, well then heck, maybe they just see a bunch of great engagement, and it's a way for you to build up some rapport, or build up some street cred, and say, hey, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about, So I mean, that's to me, that's the easiest. It's so easy to do too. You just click on the timestamp, and you'll get a link to your URL for the Google Plus post, and then just do something with it. Send it to somebody.
Are you seeing that as working as an effective strategy or tactic? Are you seeing that people are coming from your other social platforms to engage with you and get kind of more connected with you on Google Plus?
I don't have too much of a social platform elsewhere.
Okay.
But I would say this, all right, so the only other thing is that for a while, LinkedIn's redirect that they had set up when you posted from Google Plus to LinkedIn wasn't working, like it broke, which would have been perfect because it's like, hey guys, I have a great conversation on Google Plus. Here it is on LinkedIn, same kind of audience, but that didn't work out so well, so I couldn't even do it. But I will say this, we have the weekly show that we have, right? We ask people to tweet, and I saw you did that too, which was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So we asked people to tweet, and I do know, based on the stats that I checked, that people were clicking through to the event page. And I know that people have said, hey, I saw this on Twitter. I know that people have, RSVP'd as a result of things that we've posted on Twitter. I see repins of my, of the community. I have a pin for my community, and that gets repinned once in a while. We're at a point now where that thing's just growing on its own, so mm-hmm. I don't know where those guys are coming from, but it works. It works.
Yeah, I mean, I second that. I do a lot of off-platform promotion to bring people into Google Plus, especially for the Hangouts, because I think that that's a natural thing for people to connect with, is that there's something live going on. And so that's when I do my biggest push from the outside into Google Plus, and it seems to work pretty well.
Yes, you are fantastic at that, Denise.
Oh. Well, thank you. I wasn't fishing for a compliment, but just to show that people will respond from other platforms when you give them a good reason to. So
also too, if you have a good group of people here, like we ask our audience live, and you did this today, to tweet about the show. And so if it happens to catch the eye of one person who comes over and watches it and gets intrigued enough, that's awesome. But it isn't going to happen on its own. So you have your tribe, you have your your core group of people that are going to help you get the word out. And you just come up with really painfully simple ways for them to do that. Again, just pasting the URL somewhere is one easy way to do it. But
right. That's what I love about the tool click-to-tweet.com. I love that because you just make it easy as clicking, and that helps people share. And we had people sharing on Twitter today, and I appreciate that. So that being said, I did promise to give away a copy of your book to one of the people who tweeted about this event today. I was trying to bribe them. Worked for a few people. So I'm going to give you a number between 1 and 4 because we didn't get that many tweets, but maybe next time we will when they see that they might be able to win something. So between 1 and 4, would you pick one of those numbers?
I will pick number 3 because I got 3 little girls.
Okay, so number 3 is, let me just show who won. And that would be Sheila Finklestein, who I happen to know, have known for a few years. Congratulations, Sheila. You have won a copy of Stephan Hovnanian's ebook. I wanted to show it, and then of course now my Kindle is, I have to re-log in. So getting more visibility on Google Plus. So congratulations, Sheila.
Cool.
Okay,
cool.
Let me go back to me here.
We will connect, Sheila. I'll make sure I'll find that tweet and I'll send you a little DM on how we're gonna make that happen.
Okay, great.
Thanks for tweeting.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to everyone who tweeted. So now we have 3 more copies to give away. So in the comments, please, what should we have them say?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
I want Stephan's book.
If you want.
So you can type whatever you want in the comments. It could be, I want it. Give me Stephan's book. Please give me Stephan's book. I want to win. Just let us know that you want to win the book, the ebook, and I'm going to, I want to show it here again. So let me actually log in so I can show it. Oops. This is what you're going to win. I've got 3 copies. Stephan has 3 copies. Sounds like I've got them, but I had a review copy. I'm not going to give you that. We're going to give you the real copy. So come on down.
I definitely, regardless, I want to give a couple of shout outs to Carol Dodsly. She's doing a fantastic job answering questions, and she's actually, especially out in the UK, she's a fantastic person to get to know about Google Plus. She does a great job. And also a couple of my buddies, Mike Allton and Ben Fisher. I hope Mike's written at least a blog post about this. You can't go without dropping the joke about how Mike loves to write. He's so prolific, but he does a great job. If you're not following the social media hat, definitely do that. I'm sorry, I'm like totally name dropping here for you, Denise, on your Hangout.
Okay, Ben says he does not want a picture. Does not want your book. So, well, hi Ben Fisher. You let somebody else
from
have
Steady
it.
Demand.
Okay.
How are you, Ben?
So yes, Andrea, it's the newest one. This is the brand new one that just was published. How to get more visibility on Google Plus. So, Andrea Glass, that's correct. Stephan is a rock star. Tom says so. We'll accept that too. Bill wants the book. Captain Stan Walker wants your book. Alan Smith wants your book. Kristen Drysdale, awesome. She's got a whole hashtag there going. I want Stephan's ebook. Excellent. Carol wants your book. Who else? Who else wants the book?
You guys are going to make me choose? Don't do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do random, okay?
Okay.
Because I don't want you to have to, choose.
I don't want to pick favorites or anything.
No. We're not going to do that. So Carol wants your book. Melanie Kissel wants your book. Laura wants your book. Ted Isaacson wants your book. Richard Clarkson wants your book. Penny wants your book. Hey, Penny. Hi, welcome. Michael Coffee wants your book. Nicki Pasquier wants your book. I don't know if I pronounced that right, Nicki. Sorry for that. Okay, so let me see how many I've got here. So 1.
Oh, and then we have a couple others on the other event page.
We do?
Yeah, but that's, you know what, we'll, they may have popped over.
Okay, so give me 3 numbers between 1 and 14, I think, is what I saw there.
1 and 14?
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
Don't look at the comment stream. Just
I'm not looking at the. You kidding me? I'm not that smart. 1 and 14. Let's go with 4, 7, and 9. 4,
7, and 9. Okay, so number.
Now you know how old they are.
Now I will be finding it, who they are. Okay, 4 is 1, 2, 3. Captain Stan Walker.
Oh, cool.
Gets a copy. Let's see.
I gotta write these. Are you writing these down, or am I writing these down, or how's this
Yeah,
working?
I'm picking them here. Uh, Oops, now it's moving so fast I lost it. 1, 2, 3. Nicki gets a book. Nicki Pasquier gets a book.
Cool.
And Richard Clarkson gets a book.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think I pinned them, yes. Captain Stan Walker, Nicki Pasquier, and Richard Clarkson, you are winners. Congratulations. Okay, I don't know how long we've been going, nor because I don't know what time we started. So I know you're probably busy. I know everybody else is busy.
We can figure that out, actually.
Okay, if there's any final questions for Stephan, I'm happy to. I can stay for another few minutes here.
We're at about 40, by the way.
We're at 40 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Just about 40.
Okay. Oh, Tom wants to know if you're giving away 18 free copies.
Yeah, that was funny. That was good, Tom.
Yeah, I don't think so, but it's only $2.99. Hey, I mean that's not going to break the bank, and you're going to learn something really cool. Okay, so let's get to the last question here, and this is off topic because I want to, give people a little bit of sense of who you are outside of Google+. And because this is Adventures in Visibility, and adventure is a big theme in my life, and I look at life as an adventure, business as an adventure, eating as an adventure, running as an adventure, Hangouts as an adventure. My question for you is, what is the most memorable adventure you've ever had?
That's an easy one. After college, I backpacked Europe by myself, which was so much fun. 3 weeks, 15 cities, and 122 pints of beer.
You counted?
Yeah, kept the journal.
Good for you. So what was your favorite city?
Barcelona.
Nice. I've never been to Barcelona. What did you like about it?
God, everything. It was metro enough to be able to feel like you weren't in like some totally foreign place, but the architecture is amazing. God, everything about it is just so awesome. Plus, at that time, I actually remembered all of my Spanish that I took, so that was helpful. And the food's fantastic. Totally fantastic.
Okay, so 15 cities in 3 weeks. That's pretty quick.
Yeah. It was a little. Well, I mean, all right. So there was one point in time where I was in Madrid, and then I day tripped, to a couple of different places. But that was actually a funny part because my parents actually came out to Madrid and stayed with me for, I think, like the 4 days I was there, which was really awesome because I got to stay in a nice hotel and have my have my socks laundered, which was just fantastic.
Okay, I totally get it.
Totally different when you're backpacking by yourself,
Yeah, they are. I know, and I can totally relate to this. When I was 19, I spent 6 months traveling around the world, and sometimes I was by myself, and sometimes I was with friends. I met up with people here and there. I knew people living in various places where I was, and it was an amazing adventure. So I can totally relate. And when I got to stay in a hotel, that was always, or stay at somebody's home, that was always the best part. So, Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for being my guest today. I think this is your 3rd or 4th appearance on Adventures in Visibility, and the reason for that is because you are so darn smart. You are, just a generous person, and I love talking to you too. So, all you folks out there in Hangout land, whether you're live or watching on the replay later, I want to thank you for your patience and for putting up with us jumping around as we tried to go live. Still need to figure out what that problem was because I'd never seen that one before. But I want to thank you again for being with us today, for your activity on the event page. And if you'd like to get advance notice of guests and want to get on the VIP list for Adventures in Visibility, you can go to adventuresinvisibility.com. It's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? And join us next time when I'm going to be talking with Laura Rubenstein, who is the founder and CEO of Social Buzz Club. Social Buzz Club, an amplification site, a content amplification site. So that's going to be a good one, because, and that's going to be like right up our visibility alley. So thank you again, Stephan. Thank you for all your help today too, managing this.
My pleasure. Thanks everybody for making the jump from the old event page.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so have an adventurous day.